I need my phone. This is a bad idea. Okay, cool. Oh. That is translation for what's cooking, good looking. Thank you so much for coming back. So I've posted some questions on my Instagram. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, I'm gonna link my Instagram below. They're actually still in my highlights, so you can check them out. Those are pretty much gonna be the core of this week's topic. I do appreciate everybody that answered. Actually, your answers very much aligned with my answers before I did some soul searching and I did some reading and diving and educating. So let's jump right in. This week's topic is all about judging people. And when it comes to judging people, we have to take ourselves out of a certain mindset, which we're almost like dispositioned with. And that's gonna really allow us to create more interpersonal connections and relationships with people. A lot of times I get asked, Sandra, how are you so like personable? How do you get people to connect with you? How do you get people to open up? And it's very simple. I learned not to judge people. And a lot of times we say, oh, I don't judge the person, I judge the action. And I used to say that. In fact, I still do. But I think it takes a different level and a different skill set to completely remove judgment from the equation. Last time I checked, we personally don't like being judged, even if it's for our actions rather than our personalities or ourselves. We still don't like being told, hey, I love you, but I don't like that you did this, this, and this in a judgment manner, right? I kind of consolidated this topic into 4 major questions. So let me pull them up. So, first question, every behavior has a positive intention. 85% of people said no. To the 15% that said yes, you're much more mature and aware than I was before I did this soul searching and I did all this research. So believe it or not, every action that somebody does, every behavior that a person does, no matter what it is, has a positive intention. Positive intention doesn't necessarily mean we want to associate it with a good outcome, right? But no, positive is a sense, specifically, and if you're a psychology major, you're aware of positive and negative reinforcement, right? So it's a sense of an added benefit, an added thing that they get from completing that behavior, right? So for example, a positive reinforcement of drug abuse is that feeling of getting high. You get endorphins, you get serotonin release, high dopamine release. So you're getting something. So in reality, no matter what a person does, even if they know they're doing the wrong thing, the reason they're doing the wrong thing is because they have a positive intention. In that sense, it means that they seek or they know that there is something to be beneficial from that action they are taking. For example, I don't know if you're watching this, but if you are, and this anecdote is about you, you're gonna know who you are, but it's fine. Anyway, not too long ago, I definitely went crazy and tried to end conversating with an individual over text. Is that a mature thing to do? Absolutely not. Don't ever do that. Highly, just don't do it. My positive intention out of that behavior was that I would not have to face them head on. I would not have to be confrontational, and I would allow myself the ability to run away from something I was not ready to face yet. Was that a good idea? Absolutely not. But notice how positive and good are not synonymous. So here in my situation, I will never say that what I did was right. However, I do comprehend the positive intention behind my action. Whether the results were good or bad, that's a different story. Whenever you're talking to somebody, whatever they did, if it's murder, I know it sounds extreme, but I promise if you dig deep enough, there was a positive intention behind it. It means value added. Not that what they did was good, but that they felt that there was something going to be added to their life that was not there before. Really hard to grasp, really hard to do, but I promise it's worth taking the time and trying to do. The next question was, people make the best decisions they can at the time. This one was a little more like 1/4 of y'all said yes, 2, 3/4, I don't know how to do math. 3/4 of y'all said absolutely not. Right? Honestly, I was really shocked. I felt like everybody would say no, definitely not. But the answer is always. Everybody always makes the best decision at the time. Key point is it's not that they thought it through. Key point is that it's within the situation, based on emotions, based on brain processes, based on evaluating the situation. The person would not make a decision that they did not think was beneficial to them in some way, shape, or form, right? So again, I'm gonna go the extreme route and say murder, right? A lot of times it happens in a non-premeditated sense. However, a lot of times it happens in the sense of somebody's using their past experience, which touches on a question we'll jump into later, senses danger and takes a shot and says it was beneficial for me, it was safer for me, it was the best decision for me in that moment of stress to take that action. Was it the correct action? Absolutely not. 9.9999 times out of 10, if your action was bad, it was not the correct action. However, due to the experiences you've had, due to your evaluation of the situation at the time, it is the best decision that your brain could grasp at that time. By nature, we are humans made to take actions that will benefit us. We are very selfish creatures. We are the most selfish creatures on this earth. So whatever action we do, even again, bad and good have nothing to do with this. But at that moment, in that split second where that decision was made, or in that time period where you thought it through, your brain told you that this was the best course of action for you. So trust that somebody, whatever their action was, they did it because they genuinely believed this was the best course of action for themselves. Even if that course of action involved hurting somebody else. Does that mean that what they did was right? Absolutely not. But you need to pardon them in the sense that their brain was saying, hey, this is the right thing. When you do that, when you trust that everybody's behavior had positive intentions and that people always acted the best they can in the given circumstances, you truly eradicate a lot of the sense of judgment that you would be perceiving that person through, which then breaks down walls, breaks down barriers, allows that person to be more vulnerable with you. In return, you allow yourself to build a closer and stronger relationship with that person. This is a strategy a lot of lawyers do. So many lawyers defend criminals. However, how do they successfully defend actually guilty criminals? By playing on best decision at the time, by playing on positive intention. So you can utilize the same tool. Third question, people are more inclined to react to 90% of you guys said experience, and 90% of you guys are absolutely correct. Our brain is such a phenomenal organ that gets molded and shaped through our experience, whether that be actual experience and how we grew up, the people we surrounded ourselves with, the music we listened to, the things we see on the streets, the shows we watch, the people we hang out with, all of that cultivate, even the art we look at will cultivate your mind. So no two people's brains are identical. This goes into like very neuroscience-ness of the brain and how plastic it is and how elastic it is and changes, and brain plasticity, which is something super cool. I can rant on it forever, but I won't. So everybody is inclined to react on experience. Whenever you're proposed with an experience, your brain automatically processes that, says, hey, I remember this. Hey, something is similar about this. Something is familiar about this. So we're going to go back. We're going to draw on the experiences we've had, the emotions we felt, the feelings we felt, the reactions we reacted, and we're going to do the same thing because obviously that worked and we got out of it alive. So this is very much a survival habit that we have, and it's very beneficial. However, it's also very harmful because a lot of times it clouds us from judging the actual reality of the situation. In understanding that, you can also understand how and why sometimes a person will react in a way that is wrong, or a person will do something that is damaging or hurting to somebody else. That's where the idea of triggering is. That's where PTSD comes from. It's all in your brain wiring and how your brain is literally like an index. So a situation happens, it's like flip through. Oh yes, a situation similar, copy, paste, and results the same. The way you can combat that is by, first you have to recognize that it is a result of what happened previously. Your action is a result of what happened previously. You have to understand what triggers you. You have to understand how it makes you feel. Dissect your emotions. Get vulnerable with yourself. I really don't think there's a single video that goes by that I don't say those words. You dissect that and you understand that upon understanding how it works, you're much more inclined to judge the reality of things rather than judge based on your experience. So in that sense, you know that people are judging things and acting and reacting based on experiences. So you must pardon them. You must understand that, hey, if this person went off on me simply because I said something in a way, maybe that's because that thing I said or the way I said it was triggering. Have compassion, have sympathy, have empathy. Ask that person like, hey, are you okay? Did something happen? I noticed this happened. You may not agree with their reaction, but you are not devalidating their emotion. That will also get people to open up with you, as well as get yourself to be more mindful of yourself and help prevent your own triggers. Finally, last question. This one is, I was actually really shocked by you guys' answers, but I said, if I apologize, the person I have wronged has to forgive me. 91% of you guys said that they don't owe you that. Now, I find this very interesting because I know you said it, but when it comes to actuality and reality, you're like, I apologize. I don't get why they didn't forgive me. So when it comes to like a third party stance, it's very easy to say, of course they don't owe you that. But then whenever you're in the situation, you feel like you're entitled to that and you feel like they owe you that. Again, this kind of touches back on the experience versus reality in terms of judging a situation. Try to remove yourself from the current situation and look at the facts before you make a judgment, because nobody owes you anything. If a person is hurt, a person is hurt. If you are hurt, you want to be validated for those feelings. So you have no right to disregard that validation from somebody else. Does that mean do not apologize? Absolutely not. You must apologize. You must own up to your own mistakes, to your own actions, because in that sense, you are taking responsibility, which is something so difficult to do. You know, like growing up, I think I've heard my parents apologize to me twice. The words "I am sorry" seems to be the most complicated 3-word short sentence in the English language or any language. admission of guilt seems to be so difficult, right? But we're so quick to say, I love you. Like, do you? Do you truly love somebody if you're not willing to apologize? Do you truly love somebody if you're not willing to admit your guilt? Do you truly love yourself if you're not willing to hold yourself accountable? Nobody owes you anything, just like you don't owe anybody anything. If somebody forgives you, if somebody apologizes and you can't forgive, that's okay. That's something that you're gonna have to go through. However, even if you do forgive, beneficial to you, highly recommend forgiving, although it's a difficult process. I also did a video on that. But even if you do forgive, it does not mean that that person must maintain the same role or the same position in your life. You do not have to maintain the same emotional connection with that person. The thing with trust is it's a very delicate thing. You can take years, and I mean years, to build trust with one individual, but within seconds, you can completely shatter that. So you really need to understand that nobody owes anybody forgiveness. And however, you do owe yourself and other people apologies. Just because you know that somebody might not forgive you does not mean you do not get to apologize. I really hope this gave you insight on how to be less judgmental, and even with yourself, like try to apply these things within your own self and within your own experiences. Again, really aim to get vulnerable with yourself so that you are able to draw that vulnerability out of people, that you are able to remove judgment from the situation, become more inclined to listening to the reality rather than listening with an ear of judgment. That will tremendously change your life. It will also change the people and the type of environments you attract and you find yourself in. And overall, you'll find yourself in a much healthier setting and a much healthier environment. Also, you'll find that your anxiety and your emotions will become a lot more leveled. This took me, it's been a year, honestly. I've been on this journey for about a year. I'm still probably about 2 steps in of a 100-step journey, if even. Like, I think I'm still in the middle of taking my 2nd step. So be patient with yourself. Set small goals and just get going from there. My challenge for you this week is to find somebody you've wronged, even if it's yourself. And it could be yourself in the sense that you've beat yourself down, you've bad talked to yourself, you've really broken yourself down. It can be a partner, a parent, a friend, an old teacher, whatever. And I really want you to think it through and find an event that you never apologized for. And I want you to go back and apologize, even if it was from 10 years ago. I don't care. Work up the courage to apologize to that person, a sincere apology. And in order for that apology to be sincere, you need to sit with yourself and you need to understand what it was you did wrong, why it was you did it. Again, draw back on the experience, draw back on if there was a triggering time. And then from there, decide what it is you would do differently. Whenever we take a situation that we've done wrong, by dissecting this and telling our brain also, hey, it's not just you did this wrong, but this is how to approach it when you do it again, you start rewiring your brain into drawing on that positive experience rather than the negative one of the mistake. On that note, I hope you know that you are beautiful and you are capable, and you are capable of living a life and making friends without judgment. But first, you must remove those walls and get vulnerable with yourself. So, I love you guys, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye. That is like and subscribe. Cool. Oh, definitely share with your friends and tell them how awesome this is. You got that? Hey, his words, not mine, y'all.